The IPL is set to turn 20, but it's a number that Virat Kohli is after his number one. His first win is still something that he and RCB are in search of. They're back at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, that cauldron where so many enthusiastic, loyal supporters come in, but they don't see Bangalore on the right side of the results. Maybe a change in fixture timings, a change in jersey colours, and a change in opposition in the form of the Delhi Capitals might mean a change in fortunes. This is ESPN Cricinfo Matchday T20. I'm Ranu Kapoor, the illustrious company of Sanjay Manjrekar, who's flown in after his hard work at the Rajiv Gandhi Stadium last evening. Sanjay,
it's good work. Talking cricket is fun work.
Is it? Yeah. Teddy, is it more fun work than actually cranking a few?
It's a lot more fun than what I was doing back home a couple of weeks ago. So that's.
What were you doing back home a couple of weeks ago?
I was chopping wood and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot more fun.
I thought you were covering the PSL as well. Are you comparing
I was doing
the
that.
two? Yeah?
I was doing that for a period too.
What's more fun? Should I get to debate?
This being here with ESPN in India is.
Excellent, great. I know what you're trying to say. Thank you very much, Sean Tate, for giving the IPL a thumbs up as the Premier League in the world. You don't need to really argue that. News from Bangalore itself. The toss has just happened, and it's not good news for Bangalore fans because Delhi has won the toss. Shreyas Iyer has decided he's going to have a bowl first. We're going to get through to our match day match points in a short moment. But a toss in Bangalore, how crucial is it from what we've seen? One, Bangalore would feel good about themselves that they can still get the runs. It's another thing that they lost the last one, but do tosses sometimes make matters worse when you've lost 5 out of 5?
Yes, because Virat is very honest when it comes to these matters, and he confessed that he would have loved to chase. And with a weak bowling side, he'd rather put the onus on the batsman chasing down huge targets, because you saw that in the last game. They got over 200 runs and the opposition rolled it with a few balls to spare. So RCB's problem has been the same for the last so many years. When you think of RCB, you think of AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli. It's got to be more than that. You've got to also have a couple of star bowlers in the lineup. Just the one they have in Chahal. And final conclusion on RCB's lackluster performance over the years, as far as I'm concerned, is that their bowling is just not strong enough.
Is there a sense that this game now might take them to territory where they may not be able to come back from if they lose this one?
It feels like that, doesn't it? It feels like if they miss out here today, the pressure's really going to start building. And then not pressure in their side, it's going to be from outside. And again, they're going to, rather than worry about just playing cricket and enjoying it, they're going to start worrying about outside noise, I suppose. And that puts them under more pressure. The coach, the captain, Kohli's going to feel the heat if that happens. But if they win, then away they go. They can start building from there.
Now, Sanjay's point about the squad, the look of the bowling lineup is all relevant given that that's been RCB's issue, but the fact that they've not made any changes suggests that maybe they don't even have too many options. Now, Sanjay, we're looking at having a quick look at that team. Tim Southee was brought in to perhaps try and arrest some of those bowling woes, and that didn't happen. He took the biggest pasting off Andre Russell last time out. There are no changes. Umesh Yadav continues to sit out in a team that still features Moeen Ali, who didn't have a bowl in the last game. Sanjay, thoughts?
Yeah, I have a very simple exercise when I'm covering IPL cricket. And what I do is I look at a team and I put question marks alongside players that you're not sure whether these guys will deliver or whether they'll be consistent performance. Parthiv Patel is a mystery.
Yes.
For years, he's been doing the same thing, getting you 20 runs at a strike rate of 100. If you look at the bowling lineup, lots of question marks there with Mohammad Siraj, Umesh Yadav, Pawan Negi. So the only guy that you would put a tick alongside is Chahal.
Yes.
So that's the thing. Batting, I think there are a lot of tick marks there. There's Virat Kohli, AB de Villiers, Stoinis has come in. So that's looking good.
Yep.
Bowling is an issue.
And when we speak of IPL teams in general, Teddy, you might have noticed being part of the franchises, a lot of investment is put into overseas fast bowlers.
Yep.
Ideally, you look for that one overseas fast bowler, you're going to say, this guy's going to be my answer at the death. With due respect to Tim Southee, who's a world-class bowler in ODI cricket and Test cricket, he doesn't quite ooze that same level of impact for 2020 death bowling as we saw last time. Do they have a problem?
He's a good bowler. He's been a good bowler for a number of years. But when you talk about strike bowlers, it doesn't come into your mind. It's obviously they had Mitchell Starc for a while on their list.
Yes.
He's a strike bowler. If you add someone like him into your squad, that sort of player, we talk about Rabada and these guys, they're world-class strike bowlers. It makes a huge difference. So Umesh Yadav, that's the problem with him. I still find it hard to believe we're still talking about him, still leaving him out of a side.
Yeah, the sort of season he had last year.
The guy used to bowl 150. He was a strike bowler for India, and he sort of hasn't. He sort of just milling about in a weird area at the moment. So find him some inspiration, get him in the side, and he can become their strike bowler. If that happens, the dynamic of their bowling changes.
Is that expecting too much out of Umesh Yadav too, who's now finding himself behind Navdeep Saini and Mohammad Siraj in the pecking order?
But we have seen Umesh Yadav long enough to know that his problem is somewhat mental in the sense, I'm not saying that he's mental. I'm saying that he's somebody who's slightly underconfident. When he's in good rhythm, he's fine. When he has a bad night, it's very difficult for him to bounce back. I don't think he's temperamentally as sturdy as somebody like a Mohammad Shami or a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, who's taken a lot of pace in recent time. But starting to look good. Just compare Mumbai Indians bowling attack with RCB. Mumbai Indians have a Lasith Malinga, a Jasprit Bumrah. Now they've got a Rahul Chahar. Sunrisers Hyderabad have got Nabi, Rashid Khan. They've got seasoned Sandeep Sharma, kind of Siddharth Kaul, kind of T20 bowler. RCB, just Chahal.
Okay, now would they have been better served with the services of Washington Sundar? There's a lot of feedback that's been coming from our Facebook fans as well, so let's get you all involved. Those are 2 reactions. Should he have got a game for Bangalore? We'll pick up this conversation in a bit. First, let us know how you feel on Washington Sundar and his lack of inclusion. Confirmation of the Delhi team too, that also sees no changes from the team that went down to the Sunrisers Hyderabad at the Firoz Shah Kotla. So it's the same attack. There's no room for Amit Mishra. Rahul Tewatia will be the lead spinner. Akshar Patel keeps his place ahead of Hanuma Vihari. That's the team they've gone with. Any reason for them to have changed, Sanjay, for you?
I'm not understanding the role of Rahul Tewatia. I know he takes catches in the deep. He took 4 catches at the Wankhede Stadium. But bowls a couple of overs and gets you 10-15 runs. So he's one of those guys that Dhoni talks about that you can have as a luxury one player, in a T20 team. But Delhi, because they want to win desperately, cannot have somebody like Tewatia in. So I don't know.
They already have Lamichhane as a leg spinner.
Yes.
So they don't want Amit Mishra maybe because this Tewatia is a better fielder, handy slogger with a bat perhaps. Was that factoring in?
You work long enough for you to know exactly what I think.
Yes.
Because Akshar Patel also is making this team because of his batting in the last game. He's not actually somebody who's making a game-changing effect on the match with the ball. So their bowling is, again, as you mentioned, Rabada is the strike bowler. Lamichhane has been extremely dependable.
They've got Ishant Sharma in that team, Teddy.
He bowled 1 over in the last game.
He bowled 1 over, and because Tewatia bowled a few more, and Avesh Khan sits out, who impressed last season.
I find, for some reason, I find Ishant Sharma in a similar conversation as Umesh Yadav.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a guy that can be really good. He's been a world-class bowler, but again, he's in the conversation of should we leave him out, should we play him?
But at least Umesh Yadav has some T20 skills as a bowler, Sean. Ishant
I don't
Sharma
think
is your
so,
line and length bowler in Test match.
He hasn't got a
he
great
struggles
record.
in 50 overs cricket as well.
I think punter. I mean, Ricky's a big fan of him. I know that, but
I see.
at the same time, his record is probably not stacking up.
It helps that you bowled well to the coach.
He
So
did
he bowled
play
well
for
to
a long
Ricky
time,
Ponting
he
in
did.
his time. So that factors
a while
into
ago now.
his calculations. All right, so no changes for Delhi. But does it say something to you about the sort of belief of the team that they went down to Sunrisers? They don't really want to make changes, or is it that they have options that they're not going for? Because that team looks a good team otherwise also.
Ishant Sharma
Is
is
the
a
issue for
passenger.
you?
Yeah, he's a passenger. He just bowled the 1 over. I don't see Ishant Sharma becoming a successful T20 bowler this season for Delhi Capitals. So should they be investing in somebody else?
Right.
The one thing I want to see Delhi do is get Colin Ingram up the order. He batted after Shreyas Iyer and Rishabh Pant in the last game. I think he's somebody who should go up. Rishabh Pant can be at number 4 or 5 and Iyer could be down as well. But Ingram looked good in the first couple
He's
of
a number
overs.
3 top player. That's sort of,
And foreign players, better that they are playing up the order because they like the ball coming on. The moment they are batting at 4 and 5, they are looking at a softer ball, bowlers taking the pace off.
Very well. Let's move to our next match day match point, and we're continuing to try and find an answer to Bangalore's bowling woes. And Mohammad Siraj seems to have been given huge responsibility in the absence now of Umesh Yadav, who's been dropped, and the fact that Tim Saudi is only just finding his feet in this year's IPL. So can RCB make better use of him? We've actually got some numbers that will break down the Mohammad Siraj conversation as to how he was used when he was at Sunrisers Hyderabad a little more successfully versus how he's been used now with RCB. But before that, let's just talk a little bit about Siraj the bowler. Teddy, from everything that you've seen of him, does he strike you as a bowler with the goods to lead the bowling of an attack at the depth?
I don't think he's. I wouldn't say he's a leader of an attack. I mean, sometimes you can break it down and you can talk about statistics and records we've got there, but he just needs to bowl better. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just that simple in T20 cricket. Just bowl better. And maybe they've got to find a way to make better use of him, whether it's through the middle overs. But I just think that because their bowling depth is not great, this is why we're having the conversation. You know, we've got Tim Southee in the side. And Tim Southee's been a great bowler, but if you had that strike bowler, you might not be having the conversation about Siraj.
It's not an easy thing to find an Indian fast bowler who can take charge of the death bowling. There's literally just one in Bumrah now, because Bhuvneshwar Kumar also seems to be having
He's got better in the last two matches. I know he went for 19 runs in the last over, but that was a little unfortunate.
He had two great seasons a couple of years back,
Correct.
and he's had an off season with injury, whatnot. And even with Mohammad Shami in his great form, not sure if you could say the same about him.
But it's very interesting actually when you look at IPL cricket, T20 cricket. You mentioned the name that you mentioned. But think about Sandeep Sharma versus Mohammad Siraj. If I'm the captain of a T20 team, I would be tempted to have Sandeep Sharma.
Yeah.
You know, because they just find a way of getting less beating from the
Smarter,
batsman.
right? Isn't that then? Even
I mean,
with
in the
the
last
limited
game,
skill set, finding what works for you.
Against Mumbai Indians, I mean, he kept taking the pace off bowled at 110 kilometers per hour. Mohammad Siraj will come in and bowl. So he is another sort of a lottery ticket. You know, he's not somebody that I can rely on. I like Siddharth Kaul as well.
Yeah.
Seasoned bowler, he'll get stick on occasion, but he'll come running hard. The belief is there. Siraj is talented, but doesn't seem like a seasoned T20 bowler for me.
The presence. You know that sometimes it's not about the actual bowling, but sometimes having a presence and being confident. At the moment, he's not looking like he's confident.
I have something else I want to ask you, but first let's have a look at some of Mohammad Siraj's numbers and the usage for Hyderabad first. Now, how has he gone for Hyderabad in 2017, where he went at an economy of 5 in the middle of overs, you could say 7 to 15, where he bowled about 30% of his overs, and in the power play as well as in the death, he didn't quite crack it at an economy of 11. What about Bangalore? Now, he's bowled 44% of his overs at the death, so obviously a huge responsibility to bowl at the death. He's going at 10s. Can they perhaps use Siraj in that middle a little more steady?
We touched on a couple of minutes ago. Those middle overs there. There's nothing wrong with having a guy that can bowl majority of his spell through that middle overs.
But then who bowls at the death?
Well, then exactly that's when you got other guys that have to step up. So someone like a Southee, who in the past has bowled really good Yorkers for New Zealand, can he step up? Has he still got it in him to do that? So the problem is you can't just have one guy. You need 3 bowlers to rely on. You can't just have one. That's the problem they've got.
Do you need bowlers, fast bowlers? Do they often look for more support or more guidance? And if they don't find that in the playing 11 or the coaching staff, is that making it worse? Sometimes we think that they go to a overseas fast bowler, or they might go to a bowling coach. But Ashish Nehra is sitting, somewhere on the dugout. If you have Rabada, if you have Dale Steyn in the past, you can still have a word with him. They don't have anybody there.
It certainly helps. Southee's there. Southee's a...
Now he is, yes. But when you played at Rajasthan, did you have young fast bowlers come and talk to you?
Yeah, all the time.
And it made a difference?
All the time.
If they may execute it or not, but if you don't have someone to talk to, would that make it worse?
I've always been a big believer of, you talk about coaches and whatnot all the time, but the players in your side and your squad, they become your coaches. I learned the most in my career off the older fast bowlers that I was playing with and I was spending time with, going out for dinner with, all that stuff. That's where I learned the most about my cricket. So the good things. So it can be really important.
Do you think Indian bowlers need that a little more? Young Indian fast bowlers would crave that more?
I don't think so, because if you've got Ashish Nehra, you've got the encyclopedia of
Sure.
bowling with you. So it's just about temperament. Nature of the person comes. I mean, it gets really tested in T20 cricket. How strong you're temperamentally, and Siraj is not quite there. Umesh Yadav temperamentally is not quite there. If you look at Sandeep Sharma and Siddharth Kaul, much less able than these two guys.
Yes.
But they've seen it all. They're street smart cricketers, hardened
Hardened.
by years of bowling. So they're the better option. So maybe you've got to go back right to that time when they picked these kind of bowlers.
With Umesh, sometimes, isn't it, the coach just throws in the ball and says, I'll tell you what, Umesh, run in and bowl fast in the nets. Get aggressive, hit your Yorkers, bowl your bounces, bowl quick through here. That's your job, go out and do it. You know what I mean? None of this sort of meandering around at the place, we might do this, we might do that, or you can bowl here. No.
Does that sometimes confuse the bowler?
You got the new ball, you and Southee got the new ball, steam in, swing the ball, bowl fast, all that stuff. It's just sometimes it is that simple.
Okay.
Have a presence and it might rub off on the rest of the team.
All right, very well. Well, they've got a job to do today because they'll have to be defending Mohammad Siraj and co. Umesh Yadav. Tim Southee has to put behind the nightmare of Andre Russell from a few days back. But the first challenge and the challenge ahead of them will be Delhi Capitals. It's not a batting lineup that's as formidable as Andre Russell, but they've got enough talent. But we like to talk about Shreyas Iyer in a bit. Let's first give you the result of the poll that we threw up a little while. We'll come to that in a bit, so keep your answers coming. But Shreyas Iyer and his use in Delhi's team. Now, they come at the back of a game against Sunrisers, where clearly they didn't have enough runs. Just throwing his very attractive flash card for you. And that's where we start looking at batsmen a little more, Sanjay. We're a bit relentless when it comes to unrelenting, when it comes to strike rates of 126 or 130s.
You've got to look at it because this is where T20 cricket is heading. It's such a shortened game. Everything is condensed. Every little moment has a huge impact. So you've got to consider contribution of a batsman every couple of overs. And I think more than Shreyas Iyer, Ronak, I think the problem with Delhi Capitals is Shikhar Dhawan.
Sure. And the two batting almost together.
Yeah, he's batting at number 3. So, Prithvi Shaw may be feeling the pressure of these two guys trying to build innings. Now, Shikhar Dhawan, when he was playing with David Warner, was fine because David Warner was consistent as well as scoring freely. So, the run rate was taken care of and Shikhar Dhawan could build his innings. And now, Ricky Ponting has fired a salvo, actually publicly saying that I've asked Shikhar Dhawan to look after the run rate a little more. So, you'll see Shikhar Dhawan batting differently today. And I think that is the problem. The mood of the innings is set right there at the top. And if you have Dhawan playing like that, and Shaw has just got 199 and then low scores. So if he fires, that's fine.
It's a lot to ask of a teenage for Indian
they're depending a lot on Rishabh Pant as well.
Yeah, so that's two young cricketers that you're making.
So Shikhar Dhawan, the onus has to be on Shikhar Dhawan. Shreyas Iyer, you get the feeling he's the captain. He feels a little more responsible. That's why I want Colin Ingram to go up there and set the mood of the team and have people like Iyer playing the spinners and, maybe big shots later.
Let's have a look at some numbers on Shreyas Iyer, and this doesn't make for good reading because you're looking at the lowest strike rate in the first 20 balls in the IPL since 2018, and you've got Shreyas Iyer up there. Now, Rohit Sharma, Suresh Raina, we know the kind of players they are, and Kane Williamson too. They tend to make up, but Shreyas Iyer, does he have that luxury? This is where you're relying on flexibility of your batting order, Teddy. They've got the personnel. They can throw in Colin Ingram higher, and you'd want them to?
To me, that's the not saying the fix of the situation, but it's certainly a great solution. Get Shreyas can go down, relax a little bit more, then plays shots freely. Colin Ingram's an experienced campaigner. He's played T20 all over the world. He's a good player. They've paid him a lot of money as well to be there. So put him in that spot. He takes the onus, almost like Shikhar role as well.
Yeah.
They're seasoned cricketers have been around a long time. Let Shreyas go down and play shots down the order.
Phase-wise, if you just look at some numbers for Shreyas Iyer, which will also give you an idea of where he could possibly be used best for Delhi Capitals. And we know he takes his time, does the Delhi captain. That's what you've got. Now, overs 16 to 20, strikes at 192, which gives you the idea. Even if he's scoring 20 or 15 at that stage, he'd be of greater utility.
I like Shreyas Iyer because he's one of those guys who's got all the gears. He's not somebody who will bat only in the first or second and struggle with the big shots. So he can bat down the order. His problem more than what you're looking at strike rates is that he's not been able to get the big score. He's got starts. He's looked good. The first inning that he played in this IPL, he had the golden touch. He was timing the ball beautifully. Got out for 19 or something like that, 20 in the next game. He then got a big score when Delhi was really struggling. So he hasn't got the 70s or the 80s or 100 like a Sanju Samson has done. And that is reflecting, in the strike rate that we see.
Okay, well, we see a change. Maybe it'll depend on the sort of score that Bangalore have. But let's have a look at the poll that we asked you. Washington Sundar, in or out? 81% of you say he should have actually got a game. Sanjay, quick comment on that. Washington Sundar doesn't find much room in your 11 either.
Don't agree because Washington Sundar, when he came on the scene, was very good. And the most difficult thing is the second season after people have worked you out. And I don't think he's the same bowler. I hope he goes back to what he was when he started off. But for me, again, he'll be like a lottery ticket. Might go for a lot of runs, but I wouldn't be very excited. Okay,
let's just move to our next match day match point, and we're getting into Delhi's batting still. Before that, start getting busy. Delhi or Bangalore, which way are you feeling? Bangalore haven't felt defeat, haven't felt victory in this year. Let's see if they get it today. If you're going for Delhi, that's the reaction. Otherwise, the wow reaction for Bangalore. Now, let's continue our conversation around Delhi's lower middle order, whether they need a little more firepower. Now, Teddy, if you say that you're going to try and use Colin Ingram differently, then you're also relying on someone else to give you the sort of firepower that Andre Russell or Hardik Pandya or Pollard have been doing for their respective teams.
Yeah.
Are Delhi struggling to figure out who's going to take that role where?
Well, look, I mean, that's the conversation we've been having. If you shuffle that around, you put Ingram up, you might not have to worry about that as much because then the job's been done where it should be done. what they call the engine room up the top there. So down through the middle order, then it's, the job's done there. And then you've got Shreyas coming down the order a little bit with Pant. You know, two pretty. Well, Shreyas can be really explosive if he wants to, and obviously Pant plays that way anyway. And then I think that could be the solution for that.
And just having a look at how all teams have fared in the last 5 overs, Delhi feature right at the bottom now. You know, Mumbai have been at the back of some Hardik Pandya innings. Kolkata with Andre Russell, there's no surprise, they're up top. But sometimes, Sanjay, I think teams in the early part of the season aren't quite sure what roles they're giving to whom. Does Delhi strike you as one of those teams?
So now that's the problem with Delhi, because you're looking at the last few overs and they haven't done too well.
Yeah.
And they haven't done too well in the first 6 overs as well. So that's the problem. They've got to sort that out. I think today you'll see Shikhar Dhawan coming out and trying to play shots.
Yeah.
If Shaw gets going, I think Sean is right, and not too many teams are actually looking to exploit this very obvious advantage that you have in IPL when the ball is hard and new, just 2 fielders outside the circle. Every time you watch any innings, you can just see that it just gets tougher and tougher in the middle overs. So when you're trying to expedite the run rate in the middle overs, the challenges are far greater.
Yeah.
Because you have people like Mohammad Nabi and Rashid Khan bowling and people taking the pace off. So I think there's a solution here for Delhi to go hard in the first 6 overs, and that will take
Works
care
for
of the
Hyderabad.
death.
Hyderabad have been doing, obviously it's come off really well for them
Yeah.
with the 2 guys at the top, but that solves everything. If the guys at the top are making the runs, and like I said, 2 fielders out, the ball's hard, the wicket's good.
White ball doesn't swing.
when you get
So it's just a bit of a trend that is there currently, that nobody's really looking to take on the bowling the first 6
Well,
overs.
if you want to take a punt, might as well do it today against arguably the least confident bowling lineup in the league.
And they don't have a spinner that will, just trouble them in the first 6 overs. At the most, they'll bowl
Chahal for 1 or 2. Yeah.
There's Chahars and one Chahal.
Couple of Chahars and 1 Chahal, but
Yeah.
Yuzvendra Chahal could be used in the power play. Let's just throw you some more numbers which helps you understand the conundrum that Delhi are in when it comes to how they want to use certain players. And Rishabh Pant, as against Delhi's lower middle order, that's Pant's strike rate at 180. He's a world-class player now, Sanjay, and he bats, and the batsmen at 5, 6 and 7 are going at 140. Again, there's a lot of shuffling, but if you have to find a role for Rishabh Pant, let's say Shikhar Dhawan goes harder, Prithvi Shaw, you know what he's going to do, Shreyas Iyer goes down, Colin Grimm goes up. What is Pant? What's Pant's role especially when Delhi are batting first, or if they're chasing you?
Well, we've got a very recent evidence of Pollard coming in very late in the innings and actually playing the defining innings. In fact, on ESPN Cricinfo with our smart stats, his contribution was as good as Alzari Joseph's 6 wickets. So it doesn't matter if you're batting down the order. People think, people like Pollard or Rishabh Pant, they've got to get as many overs as possible. But sometimes it doesn't really work for them. So maybe better off them batting down the order. Certainly have guys like Ingram and Shaw and Dhawan playing up there. Rishabh Pant, 7-8 overs left is still good enough. If he has to come earlier because of wickets falling, that also is fine.
We know what he did against Mumbai in batting first steady when he had that great innings, and he's had many such for Delhi. But you look at Pant at the death and you try to think, is this the sort of batsman then that you might want to save at the crease? Now Delhi's batting in over 16 to 20 with and without Pant at the crease is a stark difference. You're just looking at the run rates as well, 6 when without Pant and 13 with Pant. So you're trying to understand whether this is a guy you want time in the middle before the last, or just coming and smack a few of these?
I think Sanjay's right. That's exactly what he's bred to do, and especially in the T20 game, he does it in Test cricket. He comes in and gives it a whack pretty well straight away. So I think that's got to be his role. In T20 cricket, you train enough around the way the game's played. You don't need. Not every player needs to come in and face 15 balls before they get going. Pollard, these guys, they can hit 6s in the first few balls they face.
Let's have a look at his very attractive flashcard of Rishabh Pant's, and you'll also see that the strike rates are exceptional in a number of phases. At the death, it's 225, which is nothing in comparison to what Andre Russell's going at these days, but it's still pretty good. 225 the strike rate at the death, so maybe Delhi might want to factor that into their
I have one issue with all the T20 stats that we get, even on our world feed, when we look at a batsman coming in and they show their basic career, and you have the strike rate there, which is wonderful, but I'd like to see the average too. Because Rishabh Pant, with that strike rate, if he's averaging 14, 15 or 17, it's not great. So, you don't see that as much. I don't know what the average this season with Pant is, but I'd like to see that as a combination.
It could just be a couple of hits and that could flatten.
Like Andre Russell has got aggregate
30,
runs
yeah.
with a strike rate. In fact, yesterday we saw a list of the top 5 run getters, and Andre Russell's strike rate was greater than his aggregate runs.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? I mean,
It's
it was
amazing.
just
How often does that
unbelievable.
happen? Right, Rishabh Pant. Maybe how many Bangalore get will dictate how they use Pant, but how many Bangalore get could also be down to who opens the batting. And we've identified this Parthiv Patel Virat Kohli combination may not be ideal. So as we go to our next talking point, the use of Marcus Stoinis. This is where Sean Tate can just have a nice detailed chat about Stoinis and his potential role as an opener, which is something that he did do in the Big Bash with success. And the discussion we had early on, Teddy, as we're looking at Stoinis' numbers in the Big Bash League as opener, and this comes at the back of a season where he's averaged 50 and struck at 130. Again, he's one of those that likes to take a little time.
Yep.
Is Stoinis best suited for this team at the top for you?
Well, I mean, that depends on what Virat wants to do. Can Virat bat 3, 4?
Yeah, that's the other thing, because Parthiv Patel, you assume, has to open.
Yeah, he can't bat anywhere else, really, can he?
Him with.
So then Stoinis, I suppose, in one-day cricket, Stoinis plays a role down the order, so he's more than capable of doing that. I know it's a different format. I think does Virat need to open the batting? That's a question. I don't know.
Does he in this team?
Does he need to open the batting, Virat?
Does he need to open the batting? Or does Virat at 3 work better with maybe AB 4?
4.
See, Stoinis is a good idea because, as you mentioned, it takes a little while to get going, although he played one innings down the order and went after the bowling very quickly. There's a suggestion for somebody, I respect his views, is Gautam Gambhir, who feels it's a no-brainer to have somebody like AB de Villiers open. Like, right at the top and, take his time and play the way he wants to. Because he's not just one-way traffic who will keep hitting, balls out at the ground. So that is something they could look at. But Parthiv Patel cannot open. I mean, I'm just amazed that so many franchises for so many years have got Parthiv Patel in the team. I would actually not bid for Parthiv Patel, but they also get him to open. Why not have Moeen Ali up there? He's gone there before as well, but Parthiv Patel at the top is somebody...
I mean, he's already walked out as we speak to open, and he had that one innings a couple of games back where he got a quick fire 60 at striking around 60, but those are exceptions for you. Parthiv Patel,
yeah, but he's had, hundreds of IPL innings, and you can pick out maybe 1 or 2 which have gone beyond 20, 30 runs.
I mean, he still has an overall strike rate of less than 120.
Correct. If he's getting you 20 runs and not consuming too many balls, that strike rate has to be upwards of 140, 150. And they've got plenty of other batting options to send up the order, but something about Parthiv Patel, maybe just the cute face.
Would it help? But the other thing is, if Kohli is to open, would he rather have Parthiv Patel at the other end? Would he rather have more force in the form of a Chris Gale or something?
He'd rather have a Stoinis, I'm sure, probably. Yeah. But the great thing about having Marcus in the team is he's a great utility player. You can trust him down the order, and then at the top he does a fine job as well. So, but 2020 cricket, why don't we mix things around a bit more and see and be a bit more creative?
Yeah, RCB has done that actually. They've changed that top order a lot. The big disappointment has been Hetmeyer because we were all excited with his performances on Indian pitches in India. But Rahul Dravid made an excellent point in one of our panel discussions that such people who come with this reputation of being big hitters take a couple of seasons to get used to the IPL tension and the drama around it.
Yeah, and it's not helping with the sort of position that Bangalore find themselves in. So Hetmeyer finds himself out of the playing 11. Let's move to our Fab 4 very quickly, where both Sean and Sanjay will pick 4 players. Depending on how those players do, they'll get some points in exchange in our own fantasy style system. Each run gets you a point, gentlemen. 30 runs, 50 runs and 100 give you bonus points. Wickets, 3 wickets and 5 wicket hauls get you points as well. Bowler with the best economy for the day gets 20 additional points. If that bowler happens to be from Bangalore, then wow, maybe you should just get the trophy. Each catch, direct hit and run out gets you points too. Expert of the most points at the end of the day is the winner. So let's go to 4 players. Sean Tate, I'd like you to have a crack first.
Okay.
Bangalore and Delhi.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go with Marcus Stoinis.
All right.
At Bangalore, I'm going to go with Chahal.
All right. Oh, that's 2 Bangalore boys. That's interesting.
Yep. Then the Delhi guys, I'm going to go for. I'm going to go Rabada.
All right.
And Punt, actually.
Oh, you got a batsman in there, the Chinnaswamy. Well done.
Yep.
You've gone Rabada, Stoya and Stoinis too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well done. So he's gone for punts. So Sanjay, who would you like to go for?
I mean, plenty of people to choose from. Let me stick with Virat's safe bet.
Okay.
Let me go for Lamichanen.
All right.
And Chahal as well, likely to get wickets. And
nobody wants AB de Villiers in them?
Yeah, I mean that, but you want to be a little more creative.
Of course, yes.
So maybe I'll go for Rishabh Pant or Ingram. Why don't I punt on Ingram today.
Ingram, very well. Punting on Ingram. No one goes for Parthiv Patel. What a shame. All right, thank you to Sean Tate and Sanjay Manjrekar. Get their thoughts at halftime on our mid-inning show on ESPN. Looking for Match Day T20. You'll also hear from our in-studio analysts at the 10-over phase to see how Bangalore's innings has started off. Maybe a change in jersey colours and timings could mean that they have a better start or a better run at it at the Chinnaswamy against Delhi today. Let's have a look at our poll results. I forgot completely that you need to have a look at what you guys think. 31% say Bangalore and 69% say Delhi. So they don't have favour in the Facebook poll too, but let's see if they can turn things around. We'll see you again at halftime.